Welcome to AI-powered EdTech transformation, where we bridge the gap between AI's promise and education's purpose. I'm your host, Viktoriia, and if you are an EdTech platform executive wondering how to navigate the AI revolution without breaking what already works, you are in the right place. So here is a reality check. The EdTech market is racing toward $600 billion by 2032, with AI adoption rates exploding. Yet, behind the headlines and demo videos, there is a crisis many of us don't talk about. Platform leaders are caught between boards demanding AI innovation yesterday, teachers needing tools that actually work, and the sobering fact that building an AI capabilities properly takes time, talent, resources most education platforms simply don't have. Over the next 5 episodes, we are bringing together 2 unique perspectives. Researcher, PhD in computer science, Olga Kanishcheva, who combines deep educational expertise with cutting-edge AI research, and Oleg Baydakov, one of our technical leaders who has actually built and scaled AI features for leading educational platforms. Let's begin with the current state of AI in education. So let's start with the numbers. The EdTech market is experiencing unprecedented investment. But Olga, from your research perspective, what is the real adoption picture?
First of all, Viktoriia, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very glad to be here. I've been working in natural language processing, AI research and teacher for over 10 years, maybe more. My background I have a background in academy and industry, and it helps me to see how these two worlds approach AI and how new technologies are being adopted in educational. So if we come back to your question, in companies, AI is being applied across different projects, areas, etc. At universities, the situation varies. Some of the universities are trying to build a culture of using GenAI, while others are still careful or even limited use. So at the same time, many teachers already use AI tools to prepare lectures, presentations, and other materials.
Thank you, Olga. So what are the core problems educators are facing that AI could realistically address?
It's a good question, and as I see now, and from my expertise, AI can support teachers in several ways. Firstly, it can help prepare, as I told before, lecture, presentations, and other course materials. Also, different test assessments. Second, if we have a lot of students, it's hard to give detailed feedback to everyone, and AI can help by generating more personalized feedback for each student. And third, AI can make learning more adaptive. Of course, it's not such as it's an old task, but now in GenAI era, it's more easily for the realization, Since many students now study online, and it's important to adjust courses to individual needs, so each student can follow their own learning path.
Yeah, that's true. Oleg, you've been implementing AI solutions for educational platforms, right? So what patterns do you see?
Oh, well, what Olga just described did match exactly what we encountered in our partnerships. For example, when we started working with a Imagine Learning platform, a major K-12 company in the US, we discovered that teachers were spending up to 30-40% of their time just doing some assessment creation. And very quickly we realized the key insight. Teachers didn't want to be replaced by AI. Obviously, they wanted AI to handle very repetitive, tedious tasks, so they could focus on the actual teaching.
Thank you, Oleg. So let's get specific about solutions that actually work. So could you please share some real-world examples from your implementation experience?
Well, we've worked with several leading educational platforms, as I already mentioned, and I can share some concrete results for sure. In one major partnership, we developed AI-powered assessment creation tools that would allow teachers to reduce their workload by 40%. And the idea it wasn't just about automation. It was one of the challenges that we had is to maintain curriculum standards and maintain some kind of pedagogical quality. And as an outcome of our project, the value was immediately measurable. Teachers who previously spent a few hours weekly, 5-6 hours every week, just to create an assessment, after implementation, they can do the same work just maybe 2-3 hours. And they told us that quality of content that AI generated was actually much more consistent in comparison to what they did manually.
Maybe I can add a little bit more information to the Oleg message. So I agree that AI technologies make a teacher job easily and help reduce routine work. Time saved can be used and focus on learning something new and interesting, especially in our days. As every field is developing so quickly that it's hard to keep up for teachers to be, to receive very fresh knowledge, in their domain. In addition, AI tools can support teacher in staying up to date with the latest research, creating new teaching materials more efficiently, and experimenting with innovative teaching methods. This is not only improve the quality of educational, from my point of view, but also make the learning process more engaging for the students. And as I see, finally, AI doesn't replace teachers, because it's a really pain question for many teachers. It gives them more opportunities to focus on creativity, communication, and personal interaction with students, so which are still the most valuable parts of education.
Right, yeah, absolutely agree. We also, on our side, we also implemented adaptive learning systems that increase students' engagement by 40-50%. And the system could not just identify when a student was struggling or automatically adjust difficulty. It can provide the different types of explanation depending on the student kind of level of education. And it wasn't just about algorithms again. It requires deep understanding of how the learning process actually happens.
Right, but Oleg, what about the technical challenges? What makes educational AI different from other applications? What do you think?
Yeah, educational AI has unique requirements, certainly. For example, you need around 100 millisecond response times for classroom if you want to use it in classroom, because students can't wait 10 seconds for AI feedback. And at the same time, you need to handle quite heavy concurrent loads during exam periods. And another thing that you need to provide absolute reliability, because any system failures might directly impact learning outcomes. In one deployment, we managed to reduce infrastructure cost by 60% just through intelligent caching. At the same time, we maintain real-time performance. This platform was 100% horizontally scalable. It might scale from handling hundreds to hundreds of thousands of students without any noticeable performance degradation.
Yes. Oleg, I want to add that educational AI is intent quite different from other application, but I think you know about this. It's because we work not only with data, but also with the people and with students who learn in very individual and sometimes unpredictable ways. So from a technical perspective, one of the biggest challenges is personalization. So another challenge is ensuring fairness and transparency. When AI gives feedback or grades the student work, we need to make sure that it's objective, explainable, and culture appropriate. So this is that's much easier to control in, say, financial or marketing AI system than in educational. And finally, I want to mention that integrating AI tools into existing educational platforms and ensuring data privacy in accordance with institutional and legal standards, that's also a major technical and ethic challenge, as for me.
Yeah, makes sense. And looking ahead, what trends do you think are worth seeing that our listeners should pay attention to? Olga.
Okay, so I can start, yeah. So what I'm noticing now that the most important trend is multimodal data processing, where educational system has a lot of such data, text, audio, video, and even images. And but I think it's a main trend. But another important trend is academic integrity. Making sure AI is not used too much to complete assessment. Students need to clearly understand where AI can and should be used and where they should do the work themselves. I think it's very important for all students all over the world. And it's also important to cite resources created with AI. I think it's important questions such as for students and for teachers, And this is a widespread trend that students need to be reminded of regularly.
On the implementation side, we are seeing exactly the same. There is a growing demand for multimodal AI systems that can seamlessly work with different kind of content, text, voice, a variety of visual content, and platforms want to deliver the same educational content through a variety channels, whatever channels works best for each student. And at the same time, we are also working on predictive analytics because one of the interesting questions that teachers quite often ask us, would it be possible to forecast student performance and suggest some interventions? And in recent deployments, we achieved around 70% accuracy in predicting which student might struggle with upcoming concepts.
I would like to add that also, if we talk about the trends, and it's very close to the some questions, open questions, or pains from the teacher side. So teachers have a lot of questions about the AI. Some want to know how to write good prompts to get useful answer from AI. Others are curious about using different software for grading, creating materials, or helping students learn. Many also wondered how we can use AI in a fair and responsible way. For example, making sure that it helps students learn instead of doing the work for them, and how to cite generated Gen AI content, for example. And also, if we talk about the teacher, they are looking for simple practice advice on how to use AI to make their work easily, yeah? So they have more time and focus on teaching and helping students or other tasks.
So how should platform leaders evaluate such AI solutions? What do you think?
Well, it's one of the most important questions that you need to identify during your implementation, AI solution implementation process. Piece of advice, just look for some measurable outcomes. Does it actually save a teacher's time? Are learning outcomes improving once you implement the AI platform? And quite critically, do teachers want to keep it using after some initial training and some POC? The most successful deployments are where teachers become advocates because they really like it. Because technology genuinely makes their job easy.
So from my side, I think that evaluation is not easy, yeah, for all domains, for all applications, and evaluation of AI educational solution is not easy also. If we talk about the evaluation from the academy side, I think platform leaders should look at whether an AI tool really helps teacher in their daily work or not. Does it save time on routine tasks like grading and prepare materials or not? Yeah, maybe if we spend a lot of time on preparation with the using Gen AI, maybe it's not so useful, yeah? So we need to evaluate some of these aspects, and it's better to start with one specific task rather than including the AI to do everything, yeah, in daily task of teachers. So try it in a small project, yeah, maybe small POC, yeah, or something else, or something similar. See if it's make work easily, and if teacher actually want to keep using it. If we receive a good feedbacks, I think it's a good application. So I think it's important that the tool respects students' data and support academic integrity.
Well, that's been very insightful. Thank you, Olga. Thank you, Oleg. Our key takeaway, successful AI adoption in education isn't about building the most sophisticated technology, right? So it's about deeply understanding teacher workflows and creating solutions that feel inevitable but not imposed. But here is where it gets challenging. So what happens when your pilot works with, let's say, 100 teachers, and suddenly you need to scale up to 100,000? When that AI feature that ran perfectly in testing starts crashing on exam day. So next time we'll dive into the infrastructure challenges of scaling EdTech AI, including how platforms handle millions of simultaneous users during peak exam periods. Until then, remember that in EdTech transformation, understanding your users always comes before defining your algorithm. So join us next time on AI-powered EdTech transformation.